Go. Let's try it again. One moment, everyone. All right, let's try this again. Okay, good. There's no feedback. Well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Habitat Public Triage. We've got special circumstances today in that we've got the whole Habitat core team here with us live. All right, trying this again, and that is why we're getting interesting feedback. All right, so let's see how we can make this work, and I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And then pull up the, okay, Steven says audio is good. That's good. And let me mute my notifications while I'm thinking about it, while I'm broadcasting my screen. Oh, God. All right, so let's get out of the matrix and let's head on over here. And let me pull up that link one more time. Here it is for the query. All right. All right, here we are. So looks like we got 2 pages of issues today. So we're going to see how many we can get through in this hour. And let's go ahead and start up with dependencies can't be reused. I will give everyone a moment to read that, and then people in the room, just raise your hand when you want to say something. If you're not in the room, just say something, and I'll mute and turn it over to you. All right, so it looks like the question is around dependency inheritance. Is that something that Habitat does, or let me get back to this.
I'm still reading this.
Okay, cool. All right, this is going to be interesting. There we go.
I don't know if we actually have a need to unmute.
Okay.
I can hear myself.
Right. Well, definitely project then. And anyone who's watching, if you can't hear someone's voice, just put something in the Slack, and we will get them to speak up or come closer to my computer over here. This.
I guess I'm honestly confused.
Right.
I'm not really sure.
There is a link for the search I'm using, Stephen. It's pinned in the channel pins. So you just hit this thing and then look in here, and it's this one from June 20th that I'm using right now. Oh, and thank you, Ian. He just put it in.
So this it's not a habitat specific dependency missing. My guess is that whatever is doing the building, it's looking for key thread stubs probably in the something's not. It seems like something perhaps is not linked correctly, and it's looking for key thread stubs just in the the conventional location, not as a habitat package because it's not properly linked there. So that's required by XCB. So the thing to look at would really probably be to see how is XCB built.
Yeah, it's this xorg libp thread stubs package that probably hasn't had the bin or libdirs put in because package config automatically, we automatically detect and populate package configs paths when you properly fill out the
I know that org is Stephen Dana's, and I think he, like a lot of those packages, I think he built a long time ago, or like wrote them a long time ago. I know he's been keeping up with rebuilding them, but I think that it's possible that it's just exactly what you said, Jamie, like probably just missing those options. Does somebody want to update that ticket with that information and close that out?
Sorry, can we repeat the information? I can put it in.
Yeah, I think that probably what needs to happen is the user probably needs to look at that libpthreads package to see if package libdirs is set.
Okay, actually, do you mind typing that in?
Yeah, I can actually just update the ticket. That's probably easier since you're running the show.
Yeah.
And for anybody else that's watching, we've been doing this thing where we're tracking the issues that we're doing as we're doing this and creating a list that exists in Discourse. So I'll also try and keep that going this week, and I'll keep track of those too, so you don't have to do all the things.
I appreciate that very much. So P. Adams is asking in channel, what about the depths of the depths?
Yeah, so I have to double check the code for package config. We made a decision though around the libdirs and the include-dirs, so for the C flags and LD flags, those build flags, to really only pull in things that you've directly explicitly depended on. The idea being is you don't want to accidentally depend on a dependency that's like not directly added, like a transitive dependency.
Right,
Those
that makes sense.
dependencies are just the death of everything.
Right.
And I would imagine, like I think Jamie, you probably added a package config way back, and I have a feeling you probably did it just the way the others are.
There's a package, a plan variable you can set called pconfigdirs.
Yeah.
By default, it's lib pkg config and also share pkg config. I just looked at Stephen Dana's package, and it looks like he did specify that, but this is not a habitat issue. It's a packaging issue of a package that we don't control at all.
Yeah, what we found, like I use the Arch packages a whole lot for guide and direction for sort of like what we might need to build our equivalent package, and that wasn't the only distro. I found lots of places where it turns out they actually didn't have all the dependencies that they technically should have had, because at some point you're building software and it's probably in an operating system, so you already have some like low-level stuff. So there are definitely some packages that do depend on like glibc that actually don't show up in the dependency list. Whereas the way that we do our builds in a super isolated environment, it's really hard to get like a proper build without being explicit. So it's kind of it's confusing for somebody using it, but the end result is like we're viciously good at finding hidden coupling. It's just surprising, I think, to people sometimes.
Right.
So Jamie's right that this is probably more of a just looking at the packaging system, and there's probably like a hidden dependency that wasn't expressed that we've cleverly discovered.
Gotcha. All right, well, Ian is filling in the comment on that, so I'm going to go ahead and go into the next one, and we have an RFC. Do we cover RFCs at this meeting as well as issue triage? Ian is nodding his head yes at me, so let's take a look. All right, this is a proposal about adding integrated patch support. All right, this is a feature proposal, effectively. And this one, I'm gonna ask the opinion of the team. And we can also say we want to get more input on this from the community and hold off on closing it till just yet. But I'd like to get some input from the team initially.
I think personally, I have a tendency for plan-related syntax when a feature request comes in that's like definitely leaning towards more abstraction.
Mm-hmm.
I have an inherent reaction that is like, I don't want this.
Right.
I don't know that that's fair,
right.
But that's definitely my initial response to things like this, just because we don't, like, we obviously designed the habitat plans to be super low abstraction and to not be a DSL.
Right.
And the reason for that is as developers who have worked with Chef and worked on Chef, we know the pitfalls that are involved in having like a lot of like a real DSL.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that helps.
Right. Yeah, that is it is kind of comes to the fundamental question: do we want this higher level abstraction, or do we want to keep it at the very low level?
I mean, there's a maintenance and a discovery cost.
Right.
There's a cost in, we've created a DSL, so now you have to discover it, which means it's up to the the creators of that DSL to make sure that health documentation is published, is maintained. So yeah, there's absolutely a cost. Whereas if there is and there is for patching, if there is already a primitive available that allows us to do that, and there is, and as builders of software who are familiar with that primitive and deal with it on a day in day out basis, it may be easier for the majority of people just to work at that level, with the tool that they know, rather than us, adding, a helper function that may certainly be helpful to some, but may not be helpful to the mass that would really merit adding that feature to the code base.
Right. All right. So I am going to add in a comment. Current thinking of the core maintainers is that this might add in more abstraction than we'd like. We generally prefer to keep things low level in Habitat in its current form. This is an interesting idea, though, and thank you for taking the time to submit an RFC. So my next question then is, do we want to close it at this point, or do we want to leave it open for more community member input? It seems pretty firm on the core team at this point, at least, that this is something we're not looking to do right now.
And the bigger question here is, aside from not looking to do it, is it something that if somebody wrote it, we'd even be willing to accept?
Yeah, that's a good point.
And personally, like, so I don't know, does anybody else in here use Nix or know of Nix?
Yes.
So like, Nix is a project that Habitat takes a lot of inspiration from in some ways. And I'm a former user of Nix. I don't use it anymore. But as a new user of Nix, like, I ran into exactly what Matt was talking about, which is that, like, you have to discover the DSL, and that discovery process, just eventually it got to a point where it's like, I'm done with this. I don't really want to do this anymore. Like, if I'm trying to just package up this little lightweight thing that's taking me hours to understand, like, some extra way that I have to do this instead of the way I've been doing it, that doesn't really feel good.
Right.
So I don't know that, like, I think my personal opinion would be that, like, even if we have received the PR for this, I would probably fight against having it merged. Personally. I don't know if anybody else feels strongly about that or not.
I think my inclination now is to close the issue. If there is more to discuss, of course, we can always reopen it. But I'm seeing a lot of nodding heads, so I think I'm going to go ahead and do that now and move on to the next one. All right, so next up is implement feature to auto-upload a successful build.
think I remember this. I am wondering, I know we don't document this as well as we should.
Mhm.
My hope is the world doesn't know that every time we build a piece of software, we have this little file called last_build.env or something, which has the path to the artifact, the package identifier, SHA sums, that would allow you to then, like, you could source that file and then you have a variable that you can do an upload. So if your post process is auto upload, you could write that, and I think in a reasonably easy way.
Right.
I wonder if that would be a reasonable alternative.
I think so. In that
It
case,
allows you to compose stuff. I think if we were to do that today, immediately complexity is gonna hit us in the face. Like, what channel, right? Like this is brand new, but this immediately impacts the builder environment. So this makes things way more complicated. Like, under what circumstances would I upload something? Maybe I'm not on the internet.
Yeah.
Maybe this is a development thing. So to me, my hope is we can fix this with actually better documenting the parts verified.
Yeah, the thing is that they're two very separate things.
Yeah.
A build is very separate than upload, and it has to be done explicitly. I think merging them would just not be approach. So it's going to be very helpful. And it could get us into trouble.
Not to mention proprietary packages that getting accidentally uploaded.
That's a super good point right now that would, for me, turn that into a non-starter.
After my experience with supermarket private packages accidentally being uploaded to it, I would say that is something we definitely want to avoid. All right.
It's not that straightforward to go in. We don't have a very simple process. Well, I mean, it's not hyper complex.
Right.
Removing a package is not as straightforward as going to the UI and pressing a button.
Right. Even if it's not proprietary and it's something fully open source,
All right, I'm going to call a quick timeout because we just had some people enter the room. Just so you two know, we are broadcasting live over the internet right now, so don't say anything you don't want broadcast. All right, sorry about that. Please continue.
So even if it's something that's fully open source, I know when I've been in the process of doing a release and I'm building, I would hate to you're discovering things as you're building. You might just be doing dev builds. I would not want one of those. I don't want all these extra versions. If I'm doing if I'm working on a Ruby project, I don't want to inadvertently I just published that last build for Ruby gems, and now somebody's going to do a gem a gem install or gem update and get something that didn't really mean it's not quite ready for prime time yet.
So when you, and maybe this is related, but when you upload something now, you have to specifically say all the way the whole package ident where you're going to upload it. If you just say upload, I don't know if this is related or maybe where this is coming from, but we can make that a little bit easier to say upload the last one.
That's fair. Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Right. All right. Fletcher, it looks like you're typing.
Yeah.
Are you commenting on this issue?
Yeah, I'm trying to capture just a few of these.
Okay. Perfect. Yeah. Cool. So I will let you do that, and then we can come around. It sounds like there is a workaround right now that we do need to better document, but this may not be a feature we want to add in. So I'll let you put that comment in, then we'll circle back around. All right. So next one, explain how to use alternative build systems and compiler. What does scones mean?
So scones is an alternate tool chain to make.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. So you can do this now, but a lot of our examples in the documentation are either specific to dynamically typed languages,
right?
Or if they're statically typed, a lot of it is the make workflow and make tool chain.
Right.
So having examples of using alternate tool chains is so that people are aware that yeah. So I do think that if you go down the path of writing a plan, I know that our desire for users and developers is not to have is actually not to have developers have to go in and write a plan.
Right.
We want to kind of eliminate as much of the manual interaction as is possible for people to safely and sanely build their software, so that they're not having to write shell scripts to do their thing.
Right.
So it's a question is it? I don't think there's almost ever anything wrong with adding more examples of how to do
I don't
things.
think so at all. Yeah, I think this is something we should accept.
Yeah.
So I'm going to put the documentation label on that one. And where's the rest of this? All right. Needs discussion won't fix. Where's the accepted?
So those, we use those in milestones.
Oh.
I think, again, we have to ask that question that we were having yesterday, which
Right.
is like anything that we're going to, from now on, like anything that we put in accepted is going directly on the backlog,
Mhm.
right? So we have to kind of decide, is this something that we're going to do right now, or are we going to wait to prioritize it later and put it on the heap with the other things? And right now, like David Reed is one of the documentation folks who's not
Mhm.
here. And I've been kind of tagging him on some of those documentation issues so that he's aware of them.
Right.
So like, I don't know that he tracks stuff on our project board, does he?
He should.
He should.
Yeah.
So then is it safe to say like documentation issues like this, we can, if we want to add them in, we put them on the board and
Assign him.
yeah.
Yeah,
assign-
for sure.
Okay.
Okay. Product manager says so, so we do. All right, so I'm gonna put this in accepted minor and go ahead and not assign myself. Assign David Reed. There we go. Okay, get me out of there. There. All right. Cool. So let's move on to the next one, which is document soup run studio functionality.
So that's probably legit.
Yep. Yep. Let's.
It is legit.
Cool. That. All right. Accepted minor. I'm gonna put documentation. Well,
So
not
like
that one.
it is documented. What we don't have, like with many things, is like we don't have an explanation of why you would use it. So like when people discover it, they're like, well, why would I do this?
Right.
Well, it might be documented in the sense that it's on the website, but I kind of doubt it. It's at least it's minimally self-documented when you go to the studio.
Oh no, I mean there's a blurb about it on the website.
Huh. Wow.
It's just that we don't like discuss at all why we would ever use
Yeah.
this. It's
All
just
right.
kind of weird. Yeah. I
Cool.
do think it is.
All right. So we've accepted that one as documentation. So next one is nav menu jogs down below the header at certain widths, and there is a convenient magical GIF examples. I love that. All right. So we do.
Trying too hard.
We heart Rob Kidd very much.
Yeah, you can see the whole like the sign in thing. It's-
Yeah.
Yeah. Figured out.
That's kind of neat.
Yeah, Rob is great.
We're all just watching it.
I know it's.
He knows that we're attracted to animated gifs.
He does. Yeah. All right, looks like we're waiting for some input from Ryan Kearns on this, perhaps.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah.
Okay, so yep. So I'm gonna label this a. Do we have a UI?
Habitat.sh. Yeah.
Oh, that's what that is. Okay, cool. God, that's mesmerizing. All right, and then do we want to say accepted minor, or what are the thoughts on this?
I think we'll always be on these.
Oh, he is? Okay.
But we might want to continue making some changes to make the signing and get started boxing visible, even when it's like skewed down.
Right. Right. So I'm thinking accepted minor for this.
Yeah,
what
you
about?
can go on the
yeah.
board, especially it's fine.
Yep.
I think we could easily provide him feedback if he's going to help us
Yeah.
find the fix.
All right. So we've got compare local packaged cache to depot latest before downloading.
Yeah, this is a optimization.
Yeah, so basically I can just walk everybody through it. You can see the
Oh,
transparent.
yeah.
Basically, like we don't check. We check whether or not, we don't check whether or not the latest package that's local is newer than
Right.
the web before we download. Yep. And so I was running into this issue where like in these Java builds where I'm building locally, it was like taking forever. No, it wasn't even that. It was just that like it would just take forever because it would go and pull it down. And I was looking at the back scroll and it freaked me out because I thought, oh no, I've been doing builds wrong for the last 3 fucking days.
Yeah.
What it actually was like we're just pulling it down either way and then we make the comparison. So I thought it's like a minor optimization that like you might be able to cut down on the time for some of those packages. They're like several hundred megs.
Mhm.
It cuts down on the
Right.
waiting a little bit.
All right.
Yeah, this was an oversight. This goes all the way back to before Hab was called Hab, and there was an equivalent little thing that wasn't the supervisor.
Yeah.
And that was written in shellcode, and I'm pretty sure I did the right thing. And then when we like ported the whole idea into the Rust code base, I forgot about that edge case, and the build program ran the exact same logic. And so yeah, there are times where we download entire packages for like no reason,
Yeah.
other than to say, oh, what I had on disk is newer.
Yep.
That's a little embarrassing. We can fix that.
All right.
So we're seeing is the install process is doing the right thing, but the plan build is not.
If we need an equivalent of like a Hab package
Yes.
check or something like that, or so what's going on is if you say I want like core Rust is the one that I always do, but I just built the latest Rust, so I've got like the latest, but I haven't published it yet.
Yeah.
And the build program is going to go and download the latest one from the depot, and then it compares what's on disk and says, oh, the one that you already had is the latest. And so in the meantime, I've now wasted 100 megabytes by downloading a package I never needed.
Mm.
Yeah.
Because the build program in Shell is doing that simple check, rather and the Hab install is doing exactly its job, but we haven't really squared those two.
All right.
If we just need to check, like, is the latest version? Do I have one that's more basic? Yeah.
This is changing slightly the same story, but yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so it sounds like we're in pretty violent agreement that this is something we should do. The question is what that should be accepted major, accepted minor, or core engineering.
The core engineering milestone right now was like basically an errant thing
Oh, okay.
that I created, and like I don't know if it's necessary.
Okay.
Put it there then.
Well, I'll leave it to you to remove that. So then the next question is accepted major or accepted minor.
I don't think it breaks anything.
No, I don't think so either.
That actually could be a good opportunity for somebody if they're looking to like experiment with our install logic.
I think
Possibly a new subcommand in the Hab thing, and it's not like too hard, and you will save people time and bandwidth. So.
Which means also like there's a label in there that we haven't put on many things yet. There's a mentored label.
A
Which is
mentor
something
label.
that I'd really like to do in the upcoming year, which is just basically pairing with community members as they're wanting to like contribute to core. This one would be pretty easy, and you would touch some interesting parts of the code base. So I think it might be worth like flagging as mentored in case somebody wants to do it and get involved.
Awesome. Cool. All right, moving on. Next one is App Store. This sounds like neighborhoods to me.
I think it's more like a Docker Hub thing.
Oh.
Like a Docker Hub, and you have like a list of like, here are all the things. That,
Right.
Like, and it's like the most popular packages and stuff.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
And like a really simple way to like pull those down on the Docker Hub. You just like click the button.
Right.
I think that's our explore page.
Yeah, I think we're trending towards this. This is right. Yeah.
I think it's the explore page.
Yeah, it is. We don't have that. I think that's what we like to highlight something, but to be able to have them do like such category changes, but that would be pretty cool. And like if you come as a developer, do they have like
So is the Explorer page something that we have now, or is that something that's upcoming?
Yes.
Do you want the URL for it?
How about at some point in the future we have to start looking at or rejecting the notion of categories and tags? I know they can come later because I know that in the Rust ecosystem, like the crates packaging thing, they brought those in later, and it seems to be working okay. It's just more metadata that kind of flows out.
Isn't there other like answer this one? Because like it's a neat idea.
If it's something we're already doing, I'm wondering if it should be closed.
Yeah, I think so, because I think something like this is going to go out of date. It doesn't feel like we need a reminder of that.
Okay.
I might be wrong, but
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and.
unless I'm misunderstanding.
It's like it's an institute.
Right.
Right. Okay. I'm going to say this is something we are trending toward with the Explorer page, link that, and it will continue to evolve. Smiley face. All right, so let's go ahead and close and count that one and move on. We got about 20 minutes left.
This is the most like awesome. We've gone through the most pride ever.
Sweet. Good. All right, so Windows plan, broken dependencies. 2 more elements of package jobs. Huh. So, Matt, I noticed you referenced this in another issue, make runtime environment Windows compatible.
Oh, yeah. All right, yeah, just the issue here. That's fixed. There's a PR for that fix. So basically there was some package environment stuff that was added that wasn't platform independent. So it was parsing, it parses the metadata file with a \n explicitly.
That's right, yeah.
And it inserts colons as delimiters for paths in the environment, in the path environment. So there's a PR out to do a platform independent parsing of the file content just by using the lines iterator.
Cool.
And then I added some platform specific constants for the delimiter.
Gotcha.
For the default.
Okay.
Would
So,
you be willing to leave a comment to that effect on that issue, or like just?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
I was just about to do that actually. This will be fixed with and then a link to that PR.
Yeah.
Should we go ahead and close it then, or?
When that PR is merged, it should auto close.
If you add a closes by.
I did fix by.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. In that case, I'm going to label it accepted minor.
Yeah.
Since that'll be going out with the next one once that PR is merged. Cool. All right. Moving on. Document how to access the config log. Looks like that's got some labels already. Oh, that's right. We looked at this last week. Asking.
It feels like we might have missed.
It doesn't have a milestone on it.
Oh yeah.
Because we wanted some more input.
It wasn't clear the context that he was asking for, so we labeled it, but we didn't sort it. So
Right.
I didn't really know what the error was.
You asked for feedback.
This is not a
Yeah.
this is not a habitat issue. This is
Okay.
output from configure.
Paul is correct. And by the way, Paul's joining us. So
Cool.
and Paul just made a good point that this isn't specifically a habitat thing.
Okay. Cool.
This is more like the auto configure, like it writes a what is it, config log?
Okay.
Yeah, I wasn't sure what that was.
All right. All right. So this is not directly a result of habitat. It is. What were we saying this is connected to again?
So this is kind of related to that /configure, the autoconf and automake tools. I can't remember which one.
Oh yeah.
If we were writing a I don't know, software porting guide for habitat packages or something,
Right.
For like how to debug your problems with GNU-based software, that's where it would probably be in like that path that he has there. That's I believe where that log file goes.
Okay, gotcha.
It's wherever the source code gets like extracted.
Right. All right, and the original thing was where's file is oh yeah.
I see.
Yeah, I don't know if that's something we can do.
You know, aside from
That's gonna
documenting,
vary.
it's just the way that configure works.
Right.
So, and I mean, this isn't a PR for documentation on it. The thing about some of the documentation PRs is we have to decide like how far down tool chains that are not habitat are we willing to go.
Right.
And you can like so for some of these errors, some of it is absolutely like Fletcher said, kind of about like what does it take to port your package into a habitat package. But a lot of it should be pretty close to a native build experience. So the question is like, do we spend time and cycles documenting like how to use the C make tool chain, or do we, or auto tools, you know, or do we like, I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm inclined not to, because that can of course change, though I do think we should link to some sort of documentation of that, that's kept externally to us.
So somebody at some point had linked to I think it was a Thoughtbot old blog post about like either how GNU C programming compilation works or how autoconf tools work.
Right.
It was a neat read, and definitely if you've never seen that before, that might be helpful.
Cool. All right, so I'm going to put in a comment. This is not directly a result of Habitat. It's related to /configure, autoconf, and automatic tools. It may be good to link to external documentation around these tools. I'm going to go ahead and comment that. Fletcher, if you have it handy, can you link to that document you mentioned? And then I guess the next question is what milestone this goes under.
Paul is volunteering to cover this in a blog post I'm seeing. I will speak for him.
Oh, you just volunteered. Congratulations, Paul. You've been voluntold.
Yeah, it's actually preferred if things like this are covered by the community in blog posts.
I'll put this in Help Wanted then.
What we don't want to do is bog down our documentation with the way to do everything.
Right.
Because as soon as you try to please everyone, you're going to please no one.
Right.
And the docs will be completely unnavigatable and then out of date. I don't think it's our goal here to teach everyone how to build C programs, but instead provide a packaging system and developer tools to make it easy to use and operate your application.
All right, cool. Well, I put it in Help Wanted. I think that's good for now. All right, so next up is package splits. Good Lord, this has a lot of labels on it.
Yeah, sorry, I got.
It's all right.
It's kind of, it would end up being kind of a. It's not like, I don't think it's like an easy PR to make because it would probably touch a few different things.
Right.
I don't know that that's actually the case. But the example is like if anybody's ever worked with package build packages, or if you've looked through the core plans repo for things like the example that I use is like Postgres, right? So or GCC and GCC libs. So you have this build of some source, and what you want to do is like with GCC and GCC libs, right now what we effectively do is like we rebuild that package twice in order to get libraries the second time, rather than the full binary. So the way package build handles this is it has splits, what they call splits, which are more or less a way to say like this build is going to output 2 packages, not just one. So you do one build that will take and say, all right, wait, so we have a binary here for Postgres, but then we have Postgres libs for those of you who just need the client, right? That you're just trying to interact in the software layer and not with the full on. Like you don't want to install the Postgres database every time you need Postgres libs. And so right now we're actually doing this sort of with sourcing plans, but it's not actually stopping the build from happening twice. All it's doing is saying like we don't have to write the same plan twice. So I didn't know if it was like something worth doing or not. I just thought it would be worth discussing because it's like it may also be another optimization. But I did run into it multiple times last week. So.
All right, so this looks like something we should have some more discussion about on the PR. I'm inclined to leave it labeled as it is right now until we get some more discussion on that. All right, so next up is, I lost it. Package split service bootstrapping. This is another one that's flagged, needs discussion.
Yeah, there's a completed feature idea for this already.
Oh, cool.
It's just not written down on GitHub. I can follow up on this thread and answer.
That'd be great.
Basically, this is composite packages, Fletcher.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. For anyone wondering, in a case when you want 2 or more services always present on the same machine, what we need to do is provide a plan type or an extension to our plan syntax that allows you to say, this plan is actually these 2 or 3 plans, and this is how they interact and look like one. And then when you operate with that one, it actually starts 3 or stops 3
Right,
or
right.
gets the status of all 3, etc. This is very useful for PHP or applications that don't, like code that doesn't work at all unless there's also some app server to host it, right?
Cool.
So yeah, Paul was starting to type in that, and I was thinking he's going to be talking about his Drupal case.
And
He's
yes.
come across this as well.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, I will let you update that when you have a moment, Jamie, and leave it as it is for right now. All right, so question, should Habitat packages support man pages? This is an interesting question.
It is.
I don't hate it.
Yeah, sounds interesting. My first inclination is to put this in help wanted. I don't know if it's something we prioritize, but it's not a bad idea.
Yeah, I think a lot of our builds right now, we just throw that shit in there.
Yeah.
Well, we do and we don't. I struggled over this exact problem way back, which is should we even include man pages or not? And I didn't know what the right answer was. So for the moment, at least for the foundational low-level stuff, I kept the man pages in there. There's not really any support to find them all and use the man pages properly. Kind of where I landed at the end was Habitat being so super focused on running those services and processes that it's not so much geared primarily as like an operating system where me as a user comes in and type man pages. That now I kind of landed that like maybe to save on space, it might actually be easier for those not to exist in the package.
Yeah.
But, that's why there's not a lot of support for them, and that's why they kind of exist in there. Is I really didn't know the answer, and I'm glad now there's more people that can throw that around.
Well, it sounds like this might be something that needs more discussion. Though, are there any other thoughts in this room on that right now? Okay.
People like man pages.
I like man. I like that. Yeah, I like them.
Yeah.
I think if you're using a head package like on like a workstation or something, then it might be nice to have that. But if you're like making a package to like
That's right.
run off in a cloud somewhere, it probably doesn't make much sense.
The only exercise I haven't done yet that I was thinking of is now we have all these packages. What would it look like if we ejected all the man pages out? And is that like a net disk savings, or like would that increase the download or decrease the download time? Like if there's a performance boost, that's where I like selfishly would want like faster, smaller packages. But I can combine it.
Text file.
Yeah. I mean, well, the other thing you can do with man pages is that I understand after the fact you can gzip them, and I never did that either. So I feel like in our packages there's a few tricks. If we want to make our packages smaller over time, we can like gzip man pages, get rid of man pages, stuff like that.
All right. What do people think about putting help wanted on this?
Yeah, let's dump it in help wanted for now, and we can revisit at the end of the
Well,
month.
since it's a conversation, shouldn't it be discussion?
That might be a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, it should
discussion
get
on
flagged. This needs discussion for sure.
Can do. Needs discussion. All
I
right.
guess it's not like precisely what this issue is uncovering, but yeah, for me, it's like, do we want man pages at all?
Right.
I guess, right? Like that backs up a bit. But
Yeah, we probably need to like flesh out use cases and whatnot.
All right. Next one is please make Habitat have full Unicode support, including emojis.
it's hard to say no to that, but I bet it's easy too.
They're talking about within package identifiers.
Within output, it looks like debug output.
Huh.
He wants a little poop emoji.
I wanted to.
All the time.
Oh, that's the output saying that the poop emoji. Why would
What's
you?
the name of the plant name?
Fine.
We're,
Yeah.
That we're not going to do that.
Okay. Yeah.
Package identifiers need to be the way that they are right now. Full Unicode support for package identifiers will cause us a big pain for searching, basically, and indexing.
Yeah, I don't want to think about searching for it.
So yeah, this is maybe a little more precise that that's actually the package name, like that section of the package identifier that we're explicitly rejecting because
Exactly.
we're accounting for that.
Right.
Yeah, it's just the identifiers, anything in an identity system, such as user identity or package identity.
Yeah.
We can't do that.
Okay,
That
so
would just be too much of a pain for
All
our
right.
users.
put a little bit explanation on that. I'm going to go ahead and close this one. All right, so next up, we've got, I think we can get through a couple more. File inside service config belongs to root, even though the service group user has had. Looks like this has already been labeled a bug. I think this actually is something I've seen as well.
Yeah, that's probably right. Probably bug. This is, I mean, I don't know if it's a bug or it's just the way it's designed, but it's definitely has caused me problems.
Yeah.
And recently, like having to take a plan and then reconfigure it to be like using the package service user and package service group to root just to be able to get access to those things. Like,
Yeah.
really, those files should probably be owned by Hab, no matter what.
Yeah. So, question then is, what milestone do we want to put it under?
I think that it's important for us to fix this.
Okay.
I still need to fix it.
I'm going to accepted minor. Is this going to break anything? I don't think so.
I don't
Yeah.
think it does.
Cool.
I hope that it fixes more people's problems than it would introduce new bugs.
Right, right. All right, we're at about 2 minutes right now, so I'm just going to refresh this and check out the ones we said we were going to come back around to, other than the ones that need discussion. Okay, it looks like we don't have anything that we need to come back around to. Let's get through one more. Add link to Habitat logos / brand assets on About page.
It started out with adding logos, but they already exist on the show over at the site.
Okay.
I just added the link there. I just need to be added. We have to read it up page to do it.
Okay. All right. Well, it looks like we know the work involved in that. So milestone, I'd say accepted minor. Cool.
Basically, anything that Ryan or Liz open, I just immediately accept because I think they're most
Yes, exactly. All right. Cool. All right. So last one for today is from our. Whoops. I don't know what I just did there. Oh God. All right. So last one we're going to chat about today is one from Seth and Vargo. Service default user and service default group, non-accessible and templates. Oh.
Oh,
Yeah.
If I recall correctly, the issue isn't so much, I mean, the core of the issue isn't so much that those specific variables are accessible from templates, but that, I'm just trying to remember, I think there was a deeper issue where if there was nothing in the template that was impacted by, by like a census change, that they wouldn't be rehydrated. I could be wrong about that.
Okay.
Do we have a variable called SVC user default?
I don't think that's an actual template variable. I think we have like one in the Rust code that's tab, but I don't think.
No.
Yeah.
That's why. It's not there because we don't record the default. We just record the user in the group.
But that wasn't the, there were, I'm not looking at the issue right now, it probably should be, but that wasn't the only variable that's in that issue, right? It's,
Service user default and service default. Oh, well.
Default user or user default?
Yeah, it's different in the title and the text of the issue. Which, I mean, that's something I would do.
I think, yeah, Matt's comment back, like, I'm just surprised that word default shows up anywhere in those things, unless it's in term code. Like, for the end user, all I should need to know is, like, the value of SVC user.
Right.
Right. And, like, I should need to know what the default else. I should just know what it is.
Because internally, we should take whatever default is there and just like
Right.
that's the value if you didn't say otherwise.
Yeah.
Right. All right. So it sounds like this might be a documentation thing. So I'm gonna go ahead and add that. So, oh, I just assigned myself again. Stop doing that now. All right, and assign this to David Reed. And put this as accepted minor. All right, well, that about wraps it up for this week. Thank you so much, everyone who joined us. And let me unshare my screen. My God, this is meta. Nah. Oh, there it is. Thank you, Tasha. And all right, well, thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful rest of your week, and we will see you next week. Take care.